England's golden generation in the 2000s, names like Rooney, Lampard, Gerrard, and Scholes, spark endless debates among football fans. For many, that was England's best shot at conquering the Euros or the World Cup. The talent in that squad was undeniable. Legends at the peak of their powers graced the pitch. But let's take a step back. While that squad was brimming with stars, other nations had even more formidable lineups. France, Germany, Spain, Italy, the Netherlands, and even Portugal boasted squads that didn't just rival England's. They surpassed them, often with better chemistry and tactical nous. Despite the talent, England's golden generation never truly threatened to clinch a major trophy. Fast forward to the past 5 years, and another opportunity arose. While this current English side might not outshine the legends of the 2000s, the 2024 Euros presented the best chance since 1966 for England to lift a major international trophy. Yet, for all their potential, this golden opportunity was entrusted to Gareth Southgate, a man whose tenure has been defined by near misses and what-ifs. As much as Gareth Southgate takes his fair share of criticism, there are still plenty who stand by him, even arguing that he's arguably the best English manager to ever lead the FA. Frankly, I just don't get it. And trust me, I'm not coming at this from a place of bias. I don't have strong feelings for or against the English national team. But when I watch England play under Southgate, I can't help but join many of you in wondering, what exactly is happening here? Even German football fans have coined a new term for his style, Südaufball, which literally translates to Southgate football. Sure, he's reached 2 Euro finals, but if that's your only defense, you've got to consider the bigger picture. Time after time, England has been blessed with the most favorable draws of any major European footballing nation. With the sheer talent at Southgate's disposal, they should be steamrolling nearly every other international side. But one comment I came across really nails it. This England team is like a fleet of Formula One cars stuck behind the safety car, and guess who's behind the wheel? Gareth Southgate. To put it simply, it all boils down to 2 things: his tactics and his management. For years now, Gareth Southgate has faced relentless criticism, especially for his notorious habit of parking the bus and leaning heavily on defensive tactics. You've probably heard the phrase, defense wins championships, but it seems Southgate took that mantra a bit too literally. Because let's be honest, if you're not scoring goals, the chances of winning drop drastically. And whenever England takes the lead, Southgate's first instinct is to retreat and defend. Unfortunately, whenever they face any team with real quality, that strategy almost always backfires. This isn't just opinion, it's backed up by the results. Take the 2018 World Cup semifinal against Croatia. England went up 1-0 within the first 5 minutes, but instead of capitalizing on the momentum, they fell back, trying to protect the lead for the rest of the match. Croatia eventually equalized in the 68th minute, and then scored again in extra time to crush England's hopes. The reason? Southgate's refusal to adapt or make proactive changes. Now, you could chalk that up to inexperience, it being his first major tournament. But then he did the exact same thing, again and again. Fast forward to the Euro 2020 final against Italy. England struck early, going up 1-0 in just the 2nd minute. But instead of pressing forward, Southgate hit the brakes, parking the bus for the rest of the match. Italy, unsurprisingly, equalized, and the game went to penalties. Everyone watching knew England needed a change as Italy grew more dominant, yet Southgate stood frozen. To top it off, he made the puzzling decision to have some of the youngest and least experienced players take the most critical penalties, including 23-year-old Bukayo Saka, whose miss sealed England's fate. Beyond his love for defense, Southgate's reliance on long balls has been another point of frustration. Despite having Premier League midfielders who are skilled at building up play and linking attacks, Southgate refuses to harness that strength. England's opponents have often been weaker on paper, with arguably the easiest paths to the latter stages of every tournament. But when faced with truly strong sides, they've rarely come out on top. In the 2018 World Cup, England found themselves in a favorable group with Tunisia and Panama, breezing past Colombia in the round of 16 and taking on Sweden, a team that barely made it to the quarterfinals. Then came the infamous semi-final against Croatia, where they let a lead slip away. Moving on to Euro 2020, they were grouped with the Czech Republic and Scotland and faced a historically weak German side in the round of 16. They then comfortably handled Ukraine in the quarterfinals before narrowly edging out Denmark in the semis. The 2022 World Cup brought what was arguably England's easiest group yet, featuring the United States, Iran, and Wales. They dispatched Senegal in the round of 16, but fell to France in the quarterfinals. But the most puzzling and frankly luckiest performance came in the 2024 Euros. Grouped with Denmark, Slovenia, and Serbia, England played some of the most criticized and uninspired football of the tournament. And I'm not even trying to poke fun at England here. Many English supporters were just as disappointed. With the lineup they had, expectations were sky high, but the tactics and formations on display were underwhelming, to say the least. The kicker? England still managed to advance by the skin of their teeth, thanks to 2 last-minute miracle goals against Slovakia. For those who actually watched that game, you were either 1. Utterly disappointed and unimpressed by England's performance, or 2. You switched off before that miraculous comeback. Then came the quarterfinals against Switzerland, where they struggled yet again and barely scraped through on penalties, surviving more by sheer luck than by skill. In the semi-final against the Netherlands, with the score locked at 1-1, Southgate made a bold move in the 80th minute, subbing in Cole Palmer and Ollie Watkins. And then in the final minute, Watkins scored the game-winning goal. It was a masterstroke of tactical geniusness from Southgate. Or was it? Let's be real, no one genuinely believes those subs were made with the intention of winning the game in regulation time. It was pure luck and likely a last-ditch preparation for another potential penalty shootout. England's journey to the 2024 Euro final felt nothing short of miraculous. But when it came to the final itself, after equalizing in the 73rd minute, Southgate reverted to his old habits. Once again, he chose to park the bus, seemingly hoping for penalties or another miracle to save them. But by then, England's luck had run dry. This brings us to one of Southgate's biggest flaws, his management. Enter Cole Palmer, the guy who led the Premier League in goal contributions last season with an astonishing 42 in 48 matches. Despite this, and despite Palmer being the difference maker every time he got on the pitch, Southgate kept him benched for most of the tournament. Palmer, with just 144 minutes of play, delivered the game-winning assist against the Netherlands and scored the equalizer in the final against Spain. It's mind-boggling that despite his incredible form and clear impact, Southgate barely used him. But given Southgate's track record of favoritism and questionable decisions, it's sadly no surprise. Let's not forget about Tomori, who has been almost completely overlooked by Southgate, despite being one of the best English defenders out there. In my opinion, he's more experienced and reliable than Mark Gahey, yet Southgate keeps him on the sidelines. And then there's his tendency to play guys out of their natural positions. It feels like he's more concerned with cramming the biggest names into the starting 11 than actually optimizing the squad's strengths. Jude Bellingham as a winger, Phil Foden practically playing as a forward, it's frustrating to watch. And then there's Harry Kane. Despite his incredible form in the tournament, Southgate's unwavering favoritism keeps him locked into a rigid system, refusing to experiment or try something new. It's hard to understand how anyone can watch Southgate manage England and think he's doing a great job just because he hasn't completely crashed and burned like some of his predecessors. I can't place all the blame on Southgate, as many of England's top players underperformed as well. But the reality is, after 8 years, his tactics never really evolved. The one thing he did achieve was improving the team's emotional chemistry and mending the relationship between the media and the players. But let's be honest, England doesn't need a social worker. They need a manager who takes risks to win. Now, with Southgate gone, if England doesn't find the right manager to harness the potential of this young, talented squad, who knows how long it'll be before they get another decent shot.